Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody? This is Joseph Conlon coming to you with your AEW Dynamite review on Wednesday, June 17th, 2020. We're here to talk about AEW Dynamite tonight on TNT. Just 2 weeks out of Fyter Fest, and I thought tonight, good show. Good show tonight. Nothing really special coming out of the show outside of the fact that the best friends are retain their number one contender spot for the tag team titles, the 2 title matches, and we're getting Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy at Fyter Fest. That should be awesome, man. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. So we got a lot to talk about on tonight's Dynamite review. But before we talk about tonight's Dynamite review, make sure you guys go check out my last few videos right here on the Big Fight Field channel. Go check out my match with Eddie Mullins, the Backyard Brawl. That is actually at 287 views. Last time I saw that, we're close to 300 views. That is crazy. I feel like that is absolutely crazy. Then make sure you guys go check out my Backlash review from Sunday. That's at 100 views. I want to thank you guys who tuned into my Backlash review on Sunday, and then the Monday Night Raw review that I did on Monday. Let's dive right into it, man. Let's dive right into this show, which started off with Natural Nightmares, Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall versus Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page for the AEW Tag Team Championships. I took notes for a few matches tonight, so let's get right into it, man. Let's get right into the action. Dustin and Kenny Omega start the match. Match starts with a collar and elbow. Omega looks for one winged angel early in the match, and Dustin reverses. Dustin jumps off second rope for a Hurricane Rana, and Dustin gets a little wobbly because while he was doing that, Dustin and Kenny Omega actually collided heads with each other. So then Hangman Page and QT Marshall both tagged into the match. Hangman hits a big boot on QT. Then Omega tags in and hits a sledgehammer to, like double axe hammer to QT Marshall. QT hits a vertical suplex and then tags in Dustin. Dustin hits a knee drop to Omega, then tags in QT Marshall. Dustin later on hits a very high backdrop on Kenny Omega. Omega and QT Marshall both get hot tags as Omega goes at it with QT Marshall. Hangman then comes in, gives Omega a scoop slam, and takes out Dustin Rhodes. Omega does a moonsault onto QT Marshall for a kickout. Hangman takes out Dustin on the apron. QT hits a handstand, then into an enziguri. Very nice maneuver from QT Marshall. Dustin gets the hot tag with big rights to Kenny Omega. Dustin hits a scoop slam to Omega and Hangman. QT does a cartwheel and then rolls onto the outside to Kenny Omega. Very nice jumping roll on the outside. Dustin hits a destroyer on Kenny Omega. Hangman then clotheslines Dustin Rhodes. Allie then comes out and tells QT Marshall, go to the top, do a moonsault. Kind of like, it gives me backlash to Fastlane in 2019 where Miz's father told Miz, go to the top rope, do a frog splash, which was a terrible attempt by the Miz, by the way. QT Marshall missed the moonsault. Hangman hits a suplex to QT, and Dustin breaks up the pinfall. Omega then hits a knee to the back of QT, and QT kicks out. Omega and Hangman hit buckshot V-trigger to QT Marshall, and Omega and Adam Hangman Page retained the AEW World Tag Team Championships. This match was excellent. This was, I thought, a really fun, excellent tag team match. The title defenses for Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page are absolutely brilliant. They have not put on one bad match since winning the AEW Tag Team Championships. They defended it against SCU, the Lucha Brothers, the Young Bucks. How can I forget about that match? That's a match of the year so far. Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc, Superbad Squad, and Dustin and QT Marshall. So that's 5 defenses. And all 5 of those matches were great. Those were great matches. And it says a lot about Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page as a tag team. One, they're 2 of the best wrestlers in the entire world. And they're one of the best. They're one of the best tag teams in the world. And you can't change my mind. As for Dustin and QT Marshall, I'm shocked that a heel turn didn't happen or something. Shocked that Allie barely got involved in the match. She just came out, told QT to go to the top. So it was really a clean finish, and I am kind of happy with that. It would have been too predictable for Allie to accidentally cost the team of Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall the match. So excellent stuff to start off Dynamite tonight. We then got a women's match between Anna Jay, who is the star of the show, that's her gimmick, and Abaddon, the real creepy woman, makeup on her face. She's got one eyeball that's all red. She beat Anna Jay in about 2 minutes, and commentary was calling this an upset. So, like, Abaddon upsets Anna Jay, and then later on in the evening, on Twitter, we found that she actually signed with All Elite Wrestling, which is a great signing for AEW, with both Britt Baker and now Chris Statlander out with knee injuries. AEW needs women, and now they got one in Abaddon, and then they got Anna Jay on TV now, and it looks like she'll be in a key role, because after that, out comes the Dark Order. Dark Order, Brody Lee gave Cole Cabana an invitation, which we'll get to later, a contract, and then 5, Alan Angles, and Preston Vance, 10, helped Anna Jay to the back. So it looks like we could be getting our first woman in the Dark Order. Great stuff. Good showcase match for both, mostly Abaddon, but Anna Jay in the Dark Order is going to be really good, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks with Anna Jay in the Dark Order. We then got to MJF and Billy, because we can't call him Billy Gunn because, we can't call him Billy Gunn because, WWE being petty, so they took the name Gunn. So his name is just Billy. This match was decent. It wasn't anything too special. We knew MJF was going to win this match at the end. Austin Gunn got involved in the match. Wardlow took care of him. Wardlow threw the ring to MJF. It was like the same finish as Revolution. MJF punched Billy with the diamond ring, fell right on top of him, got the win. The important thing came after the match, where Jurassic Express were actually in the audience, and MJF got in the face of Jungle Boy, and Wardlow got in the face of Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt went at Wardlow, and then MJF Jungle Boy got at it. Marcus Stunt, Luchasaurus got at it with Wardlow, and we got a breakup from the roster. The roster had to come out of the audience to break this fight up, and that was the segment. Nothing too special. Decent match with MJF and Billy. Not bad, but I feel like the brawls and the breaking up, I feel like AEW does that a lot often, and you can't do it every time, because if you do it every time, people are going to get sick of it, and it's going to become an overkill. So you can't do too much of that, and hopefully we slightly stop doing it for a little bit. We then have Tony Schiavone interviewing Britt Baker in his voicemobile. Big interview, they called it, because Tony Schiavone had breaking news that at Fyter Fest, Hikaru Shida would be defending the AEW Women's Championship against Penelope Ford. Britt Baker was all pissed off at Tony Schiavone, saying that's all you had to do. Like, that's what you had this interview for, to say that match. Britt Baker put Tony Schiavone on friend timeout, and Britt Baker was telling Stella to let's go. The car wasn't driving. And Swole was actually in the driver's seat. She said, "Where are we going, doctor?" So that brought back big vibes from a few years ago with The Undertaker. And Big Swole drove away with Britt Baker screaming, and yeah, that's that. Big Swole has been doing really good. She's been on Dark, and now she's getting in a feud with Britt Baker, and I'm sure this is the match that Britt Baker is going to come back to at All Out. We will see Big Swole versus Britt Baker, which I'm all for happening, so that should be a very good match. Then we saw the TNT Championship Open Challenge with Cody, and this week we didn't know who's Cody's opponent was going to be, and it turned out to be Ricky Starks. It turned out to be Ricky Starks, former NWA television champion. They played a vignette for him saying, "I've had the scratch and call my entire life. I grew up with not a lot of money. I have $3 attached to my name. I slept on the sidewalk. I slept in the car. I slept on the couch. And now I have the same thing as Cody. Work ethic, and grit. And I will beat Cody on the track." So out came Ricky Starks, and we got this TNT Championship match between Ricky Starks and Cody. And I took notes for the match, and I'll tell you what, man. First time seeing Ricky Starks, not bad. Not bad at all. Match starts with Cody going for a waistlock, and Starks gets away from Cody. Cody then hits a dropkick to Starks, and Starks stands right back up. Cody then hits a tope to Starks to the outside. Starks throws Cody aggressively to the ropes and hits a leg drop to Cody. Very nice leg drop, by the way. There's a shot backstage of Jake Hager watching this match before the match with Cody at Fyter Fest, and I swear to God, man, they had a shot of Jake Hager 3 times. Then all 3 of those times, it looked like that Hager didn't even move a muscle while watching this match with Cody. And I found it very hilarious. Like, Jake Hager just has a sense of humor that he's serious all the time. And I just get that vibe while thinking about Jake Hager, you know? So, Starks then hits a DDT for a 2 count. The two both bumped heads together, and then Cody hits a power slam with Starks kicking out. Tony Schiavone mentioned on commentary that's the second time that both Rhodes brothers bumped heads tonight. When Dustin bumping heads with Kenny Omega, and Cody bumped heads with Ricky Starks. I just wanted to bring that up there because why not? Cody hits a standing suplex for a kick out. Starks hits a suplex to Cody with a kick out. It looked very brutal. Both guys are giving each other forearms and blows. Starks then gives Cody a spear for a kick out. Cody reverses a clothesline from Starks, hits Crossroads, and Cody retained the TNT Championship. Good match. Pretty good match between these two, like I said. I am impressed. First time seeing Ricky Starks. Looks like guy has a lot of charisma. He's got that underdog vibe in him with his story. He's told that he's got $3 attached to his name and he grew up sleeping on the sidewalk and in cars. So, he looked very good. I do hope AEW signs him. He could be a really good signing to AEW and be in that mid-card for AEW, I feel like. But good match. Probably my least TNT Championship Open challenge. I'm going to say my favorite one so far was Mark Quinn, and then Jungle Boy, and then Ricky Starks. So, I just wanted to get that out there. We then had Super Bad Squad, Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian, who had new theme music, and it looks really, it's great. That's all I'm going to say. I stuttered there, but it's great. They went up against the Young Bucks. I did not take notes for this match, but this was a damn good tag team match. Once again, a really damn good tag team match. This was a very tag team heavy show, and it showed you that AEW has the best tag team division in the world. And I feel like tonight they proved it, because all 3 tag team matches were really good. Really good tag team matches. I swear to you, on 3 occasions, I thought that Havoc and Sabian were going to beat the Young Bucks. One where Jimmy Havoc hit his DDT to Nick Jackson and he kicked out. Then Kip Sabian hit a double foot stomp from the top rope and he kicked out. And then Havoc rolled up Nick Jackson after the Butcher and the Blade distracted the Young Bucks. And I was shocked that did not happen. I was shocked that Havoc and Sabian did not win the match off of that. It protects the Young Bucks, and it gives Havoc and Sabian a little bit of credibility. So, and then at the end, Young Bucks tricked Havoc and Sabian, hit double super kicks, and I believe Nick pinned Jimmy Havoc. After the match, we got a huge brawl between FTR, the Young Bucks, going at it with Butcher and the Blade, and Havoc and Sabian. Very good tag team match. Alright segment afterwards. And that's the segment. I could definitely see an 8-man tag happening at Fyter Fest since it wasn't announced for next week. But in my opinion, here's the problem with the 8-man tag. You have 2 tag teams with the Young Bucks and FTR, who are 2 of the best tag teams in the world. But then on the other side, you have Butcher, Blade, and Havoc and Sabian. Butcher and the Blade just lost to FTR. Havoc and Sabian just lost to the Young Bucks. So why should I believe in those guys beating FTR and the Young Bucks? I actually would have given the win to Havoc and Sabian tonight, just to give them a little credibility and just to get them on the right foot, I guess you could say, because they just came off a loss to Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page for the tag team title. So a win over the Young Bucks would have done great for these guys. And if we get the 8-man tag at Fyter Fest, why should I care? Why should I care already knowing who's going to win the match? So that's my problem if we get this 8-man tag at Fyter Fest. We then had a segment with Brian Cage and Taz on the railroad, and Taz said he had Moxley last week had the guts to disrespect me and Brian Cage, saying he's the best trash talker in the game. Taz said he's the best trash talker in the game. Brian Cage interrupted Taz and he said, "I'm sick and tired of what Jon Moxley is doing. He's in our head. He's not in our heads. I wish Fyter Fest was now, because I want to drill Moxley's head to the ground." And Taz said, "Imagine if Brian Cage is thinking about this now. Wait till you see what Brian Cage does to Moxley at Fyter Fest." And then Moxley had a segment afterwards saying that, the AEW World Championship is just more than a piece of gold. And he told Brian Cage to bring his A game, because it's going to be a physical, all-out war for the AEW World Championship. He said, "Beat me if you can, and survive if you are a miserable mother effer who will go down deep water with me." Excellent promo from Jon Moxley, man. You can just tell the man is loving his freedom outside of WWE. You could tell because his promos are really good, and they're really hyping up Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage at Fyter Fest. And I'm telling you, that match is going to be a war. That's going to be a war, and I can't wait for it. We get match announcements for next week. Next week, we're getting Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy, and with the stipulation of Sammy Guevara being able to choose what version of Matt Hardy he wants for next week. So we're getting that. We're getting Brody Lee teaming up with Colt Cabana, which is the contract that Brody Lee gave to Cabana. A tag team match next week on Dynamite between Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. So that's that for next week. We're getting Luchasaurus versus Wardlow in a lumberjack match, which was advertised in March but didn't happen because of the pandemic. And now it's happening. Quite frankly, I would have done this at Fyter Fest. This would have been a really good match to happen at the Fyter Fest show, either July 1st or July 8th. It's happening next week, but I'm not going to have an argument with it. It's whatever. And then we're also getting FTR versus the Natural Nightmares as well next week. So it should be a pretty good episode of Dynamite. It's the last Dynamite before Fyter Fest, so we'll see how that fares. They did not advertise a TNT Championship match for next week, which was very interesting. So we'll see if there's a TNT Championship match next week on Dynamite. Main event, I'm going to run through this very quickly. Best Friends versus Les Sex Gods. Take notes. Like I said, I'm going to run down through really quickly. Best Friends immediately attack Les Sex Gods when the bell rings. Taylor drives a water bottle into Chris Jericho's eye. Taylor tags in and stomps away to Jericho on the corner. Jericho hits a missile dropkick to Chuck Taylor. Guevara tags in and locks in a chin lock to Taylor. Jericho misses a line salt and grabs his knee. Later on in the mat, back from break, Jericho puts Trent in a suplex position and throws Trent to the ropes. Jericho and Guevara then make their like Sex Gods pose. Love it. Trent gives Sammy double foot stomp in the corner. Taylor comes in on fire, hits a Falcon Arrow to Guevara. Taylor hits a sit-out powerbomb, very nice, to Guevara for a kick-out. Jericho breaks up the hug from the Best Friends. Trent gets countered by Jericho into the walls of Jericho. Trent hits a suplex to Guevara with Taylor on Trent on Taylor's shoulders. Taylor throws Jericho into the barricade. Guevara hits a shooting star for a kick out by Trent. Trent hits a deadeye to Guevara for the win. Best friends keep their number one contendership and will face Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page at Fyter Fest for the tag team titles. After the match, we got a camera guy up on the stage. He puts down the camera. He takes his hat off. He takes his mask off because, social distancing, you gotta protect your face. It turns out to be Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy aggressively takes down Jericho. Fist to Jericho. Hits a Falcon Punch. And Dynamite goes off the air with the best friends in Orange Cassidy hugging it out. Good tag team match between Les Sex Gods and the best friends. And I'm telling you, man, Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. And I tweeted this out. You can quote me on it. Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho is going to be one of the best matches of 2020. And I'm saying that with a straight face. I genuinely believe that Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho could be one of the best matches of 2020. Fyter Fest couldn't come soon enough. That show is looking absolutely stacked. And we should see, we'll see how next week goes. But for this week, it was a good episode of Dynamite. And by the end of the night, I'm a happy person. Thank you guys for joining me in this video. If you haven't already, subscribe right here on the Big Fight Field channel for new content. I will be back here tomorrow for your NXT review with the first guest ever on the Big Fight Field channel, Indigo Uchiha. Shout out to him. He'll be joining me tomorrow to talk about some NXT. Comment down below what you thought of tonight's episode of Dynamite. Hit that like button if you enjoyed tonight's episode of Dynamite. Share this video. Follow me on Twitter at Kyle_Joseph and Instagram as well. Follow Eddie on Twitter at EddieMullins515 as well. And like I said, I'll be back here on the Big Fight Field tomorrow with Indigo as me and him review NXT. Have a good night. Stay safe, guys.